Hey guys, Frank here. Today we'll check out some stories from us/AskReddit. Here's the first. What movie absolutely destroyed you emotionally? P.S. I Love You. I watched it shortly after my mum passed away, not realizing what it was about. I was sobbing 15 minutes in and couldn't watch anymore. All Dogs Go to Heaven. Even worse when you find out what happened to Judith Barcy. The opening scene of UP did more emotional damage to me than anything else I've seen on screen. I watched it with a friend and her 3 little kids. Her kids were definitely confused to see 2 grown women weeping inconsolably over a fun movie. The Land Before Time. God, that scene where his mom dies is just gut-wrenching. Though it's got close competition with Fox and the Hound. All the feels. Where the Red Fern Grows. Fox and the Hound. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. What's Eating Gilbert Grape and Baystirp out of Carolina. The first time I saw Saving Private Ryan. I'm not even a military veteran. Never even thought of joining. But that movie is gut-wrenching for me every time I watch it. The horrors of WW2 aren't something I'll ever forget. And the acting is superb. Atonement. It's been like 20 years and I still haven't forgiven Saoirse Ronan. Dear Zachary. I was a wreck for weeks. Grave of the Fireflies. It was years ago. I'm still not okay. The Wild Robot. Every darn time. American History X. I've watched that movie countless times and the ending never fails to make me cry like a baby. Onward. No kids movie has any right to be so beautifully emotionally devastating. Big Fish. In the end, when everything makes sense and the big fish show up, I got destroyed. I just got divorced but still madly in love with my ex-wife and was pretty lonely. So that the ultimate meaning of life portrayed in the end of the movie, hitting me like a ton of bricks, straight in the face, make me, unexpected, sobbing pretty hard, for the first time since my divorce, for a good hour or so. Here's story 2. People who left their partner the day of the wedding. What happened? My friend did this like 20-some years ago. She was engaged to a guy from a very well-off family. The wedding was in California but they were living in Seattle. Very posh, very expensive. But the MIL was always a peach to her. Right at the beginning of the reception, the MIL came up and said some nasty things to her in whisper, thinking she would just take it again. She lost it, families got involved, and she ended up on a plane back to the PNW that night. Her family had already started moving her things out of the apartment that evening. Never spoke to him again. My brother went to this engagement party, everything was great, nothing out of the ordinary. Wedding comes around 3 months later, he shows up, and it's a totally different bride. Same groom, same date, same invite, just new bride. No explanation. We called it the non-wedding. It was a very small, backyard do, and when we showed up, a relative of the groom ushered us out back and whispered that the wedding was off but they had all this food and to help ourselves. Apparently just that morning the groom found out that the bride banged the stripper at her bachelorette party, but his family said they'd already spent all the money on the party, so they'd just tell people when they arrived. It was one of the most awkward experiences of my life because the groom just sat dejectedly in a chair while people tried to cheer him up. We ate a little out of obligation and then got the heck out of there. My cousin's backyard shotgun wedding. She changed her mind because they got in a fight that morning. My uncle still made barbecue and it just turned into a typical family hangout. They got married the next weekend anyway. Not a very exciting story. They are still married like 22 years and 3 kids later though, so that's something. A colleague of my husband's texted him about a week before the wedding saying something cryptic like, "If I'm in Key West on Friday, the wedding isn't happening," so he was clearly having thoughts prior to. But social media showed that the rehearsal dinner happened the night before the wedding and he was there, so we figured he had gotten over it. We had family in town and weren't planning to attend the wedding anyway, but my husband texted a congratulatory message later on the day of. Guy replied from Key West. He did not show for the ceremony. His excuse was that she wouldn't sign the prenup. The reality was that he was already seeing someone else. My wife's family has a story from the early 1900s in which a bride and groom had courted mostly by mail. The day of the wedding, bride got cold feet. The family was trying to figure out what to do when the bride's sister piped up and said, "I'll marry him." The groom thought about it for a few minutes and decided he was in. The wedding proceeded as if nothing had happened and they allegedly were married 50+ years and produced a big happy family. This happened to a friend. He found out she was cheating on him and still was on the morning of the wedding. That's when he found them together in a separate room for the wedding party. It was my sister and it wasn't the day of the wedding, but on the honeymoon cruise she found his drug fentanyl shoot-up kit. Needles, dope, all that shit. Not the day of, but my mom's first marriage lasted 13 days. He was mentally unstable, locked her up in the apartment and beat her. She was eventually able to get his mother to rescue her and take her to a shelter. Knew someone who got married, then moved into her parents' basement. A couple of days later, her dad heard, through the floorboards, his new son-in-law abusing his daughter. He promptly kicked him out and annulled the marriage. Not me but my best friend. I was set to be his best man at his wedding. While I was organizing his bachelor party, I reached out to some of our old friends to invite them. One of them who showed up we hadn't really seen in like 10 years and asked who he was getting married to, and I told him. And he was just silent for a minute and said, "Bro, I literally just hooked up with her a couple weeks ago." I thought it was a joke, but he sent me a pic. Hardest fucking conversation I have ever had to have. And it was only like 12 hours to the wedding. I have a worse version of this. Had a family member get married and they got pregnant afterwards. Seemed all good. The day of the birth, the dude decided he didn't want to be a father and left to never be seen again. Never even saw the kid. My dad left his bride at the altar. It wasn't my mom, it was years before. From what he told me, the relationship was quite toxic and got worse during the wedding preparation. My dad apparently warned her that he was very close to calling everything off. She told him he didn't have the guts to do it. So when the civil agent asked him if he was willing to tacker the lady as a spouse, he said no. She, rightfully so I would say, was enraged and her family tried to beat up my dad, who swiftly left with his best friend. They still got married a few months later but got divorced pretty quickly. Not me but I was the best man. Incredibly weird vibes from the very religious family of the bride the whole time. My friend the groom is Muslim and black. Her family was always nice to him but would say shit like, "Well, with whoever you end up marrying," to her in front of his face, even after they were engaged. She literally just never showed up, neither did her nor her entire family, and they never RSVP'd. Yes, they haven't spoken a word to each other to this day. She married some blonde dude within 6 months and lives in, drumroll please, rural Alabama. Obligatory not me, but bride's best friend decided the wedding was the perfect time to announce that bride was secretly pregnant. Problem is, groom was religious and saving himself for marriage, and bride agreed to it. They hadn't had intimacy before. Turns out she had been cheating for most of the relationship because of this. I believe she planned on waiting until after they had intimacy and telling him the child was his. Turned into a very interesting situation where groom's parents were very upset, thinking he broke his promise of abstinence to them. Bride's parents were celebrating the pregnancy. Bride and groom both had looks of absolute horror. Here's story 3. What's something you'll never tell your partner? Money is tight right now. I told him I found my Amazon gift card that I lost when we moved. I have actually been saving my reward points at work. I saved up all year and I finally have enough to get a $100 gift card. I'm using it to get him an anniversary gift. I'll never tell him why I love hearing him say my name in conversation. It's because I never heard my own name from my ex-husband unless he was irritated with me. Now I hear my name with love and it makes me so happy. I don't want to tarnish that, he doesn't need to know. I definitely didn't harm that massive spider, and I have no idea where it went. I knew my now fiancé was going to propose when he did. He had kept the ring box in his nightstand drawer and I knew it was there but never opened it. When we were packing for a trip, I went into the drawer to grab some things and the box was gone. He thinks he surprised me so good, and I'll always let him think he did. He has a birthmark on his butt cheek that looks like a swastika. That sometimes I watch him while he's sleeping next to me. It's the only time I can really take in his beauty and relish in how thankful I am without him feeling awkward that I'm staring. I don't know if I could ever have the heart to tell him in full detail of how much damage my ex did in the abusive relationship I was in with him. The extent of the injuries, the things he said to me, the things he did to me, etc. My husband would be heartbroken. He would be so hurt. And I never want to ever make him feel that hurt. He hates when bad things happen to me. The specifics of some of the horrible shit I did while addicted to drugs, I've been sober for some time now. I'm open about that and will be open and honest about any questions, what drugs I did. But there's no good reason to bring up details of some horrible shit I did in the past. His breath sometimes smells worse than my daughter's diarrhea. I've mistaken his breath for a poopy diaper more times than I'd ever admit. Unfortunately, I have learned I have to hide the worst of my feelings. She can't handle that I'm barely hanging on to life or how much I'm always in pain. I have come to realize no one can be there for me the way I need. When I try to open up to anyone, they leave or distance themselves from me. I've come to realize the world is very lonely and I will have to suffer it by myself. That I have lost my ability to feel joy, real happiness or anticipation. I'm not suicidal or sad, just flat and mostly emotionless and uncaring. But he will never know that because he is a wonderful human and loves me beyond what I deserve. So I go through all the motions to make sure he feels safe and loved and valued. And just writing that makes me feel like shit. That it absolutely kills me on the inside. He never calls me beautiful. I don't actually remember the last time he did, even our wedding day and the day I gave birth to our child. He will call me pretty, cute, and adorable, but never uses the word beautiful. I don't know if it's because we've been together since high school, 10 plus years, and he just doesn't think about it because we've been together more than half of our lives. I know it's a stupid complaint, and I'm so unbelievably thankful for him and everything he does, but it makes me feel awful on the inside. The things I experienced and saw as a soldier. Just how self-conscious, insecure I am. It's not his problem to deal with my insecurities on the scale I have them, so I mostly deal with it myself and only seek reassurance if I'm feeling particularly bad. Even then I try not to delve into it much at all. I just keep it simple and say something like, "Hey, I'm struggling a bit right now. Could you please remind me how you feel about me?" He's supportive, but I just don't want to put that burden of my stronger negative feelings on him if I can avoid it. That being a stay-at-home mom to a special needs child is harder than he believes. Pointless telling him he's never truly understand what I do or go through every single day. Here's story 4. What's a secret that would completely change how people see you? I have no real friends. Never really had. I'm friendly with people I work or study with, but after that we never speak again. I really like to get babied. Not in a weird way though. When me and my girlfriend hug, I love getting reassured like I'm still a baby. That's it. I am part of a huge turtle conservation group. I don't like turtles, they scare me. I'm 6 feet, 300 pounds POC who works as a physical laborer. Most people are a bit intimidated by me, but years of emotional and psychological abuse from multiple people I trusted growing up has made me terrified of most people. I'm kind of like a spider in that I'm way more afraid of you than you are of me. I know more than I let on, let them think I'm an idiot. I survived cancer and am physically disabled. Sometimes disability is invisible to the eye. I'm a sperm donor and have a few children around the world that my kids and ex know nothing about. Current partner knows about it. I was an addict for years and nobody knew. I've been clean for years now, but I was living my whole life, job, marriage, house, kids etc., high as frick. I was addicted to meth for 10 years. I quit straight up 3 months ago. Don't miss it. Don't care who knows. I'm known as the happy girl at the office. I'm bubbly and chatty and welcoming and caring. People remark on it all the time. X. Who's that? The girl who's always smiling. You're the only one around here who smiles. You're never in a bad mood, are you? I'm suicidal. I didn't actually do any college or have a degree. I just started working and obtained my position that I have right now. If I get fired, I'm ducked, lol. The extent of the childhood abuse I suffered. It was bad, like really bad. Like, my dad should be in prison bad. I could have been a monster, but thankfully I got away from my family and did a pretty decent job healing and raising my kids. I don't want people to feel bad for me or think less of me, so I just bury that stuff deep down. Probably the fact that I post a lot of pics of my body on Reddit just purely for confidence and self-enjoyment and nothing more. I'm a male, so I'll save a lot of you the clicks in advance. I have complex PTSD with loads and loads of toxic shame. My brain is constantly beating me up and telling me that I hate myself. I experience hypervigilance and often stay in that state when I'm around groups of people. I'm very quiet and keep to myself. Everyone knows I'm different. Everyone likes me, but I'm always excluded and I'm an outsider. I just don't fit in anywhere and never have. People perceive me to be a cold, aloof, uncaring guy. I just keep my distance because I'm tired of getting hurt, but I'm basically a golden retriever. Dumb, wants cuddles and food all the time, so on and so forth. That wraps it up. Alright folks, follow for more stories with Frank.